This is all very interesting. Indeed, touching. But I'm expected for cocktails by Lord Peel in an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. You may continue with your exhibition, Monsieur Poirot. I am going.
Of course, Lady Westholme, of course. Better not be late for the loyal toast, what? Look, why don't we all go? Everyone welcome. Celebrate George Mark VI. Though I suppose I ought to say sorry about your Mrs. Simpson.
I'm very disappointed. I would have expected an American woman to navigate skillfully onto the throne.
Do you know who did it?
I have until midnight, Colonel.
You didn't even mention that business this morning with the Arab boy.
Well, that will come later. It only confirms what I know already.
I've ever met.
Not that you've met a lot, kid.
He's better than you, Ray.
Oh, surely no one's better than Ray.
The Colonel certainly is.
That's very sweet of you, my dear.
That was fun.
Monsieur Poirot should not dance. Too fat. Bad for the heart.
Both Miss Quinton and Lady Westholme say they saw the Arab boy emerge from the tent occupied by Ginny. But Dr. King's tent was next door. It might quite easily have been that tent to which they were referring. Lady Westholme said...
In addition, he was wearing a pair of torn and patched breeches, and his puttees were wound most untidily.
But Lady Westholme was sitting at her tent 200 yards away. She said she didn't see the face. How could she possibly have seen the detail of clothing at such a distance? There was no Arab who had an argument with Mrs. Boynton. The person who killed Mrs. Boynton was the same as the one that stood behind Dr. King in Jerusalem.
Dr. King?
And it was the same one who was standing behind me when I was waiting for the only witness of the murder to meet me. Oh, it was no coincidence. Lady Westholme's window gave onto the very alley where the boy had asked me to meet him the night before. She overheard, but she had no way of finding him before our actual meeting. After that, she took to the streets like a hunter and did not rest until she had killed her quarry.
But just a minute. Miss Quinton said that Mrs. Boynton was still alive when she and Lady Westholme started out on their walk. And she was certainly dead by the time they got back.
Miss Quinton agreed with Lady Westholme.
She grunted like a pig.
Most offensive.
But Miss Quinton is easily suggestible. Only yesterday in the lobby I said, "That is the largest spider I have ever seen."
Spiders do not frighten me.
There was, of course, no spider, and Mrs. Boynton at no time grunted like a pig. I invented the spider. And as for Mrs. Boynton, oh, she was dead. What happened was that Lady Westholme went back to her tent. She made herself a headdress out of a sheet. And a duster, this manner here. And some kind of a cord. Oh. Like this. Then she went into Ginny's tent, by mistake, hence the story of the shape. She came out and went into the tent of Dr. King. Here she finds the hypodermic and fills it. Then she goes out to where Mrs. Boynton is sitting, grabs her wrist and injects the poison. She leaves her sitting there until Miss Quinton returns, when Lady Westholme invites her to go for a walk.
But why should Lady Westholme, of all people, want to murder Mrs. Boynton?
Lady Westholme was born an American. But, of course, she became more English than any native. Mrs. Boynton said she never forgot her face. Consider, she was a wardress in a prison. And your adjutant, Colonel, has confirmed my suspicion in a telephone call to the American police that Lady Westholme, prior to her marriage, was a criminal who served a prison sentence in that very same prison.
So stepmother was going to blackmail Lady Westholme?
Oh, not conventional blackmail. No, there was no money involved. He just gave her the opportunity of torturing her victim for a while.
Then she'd enjoy revealing the truth.
In the most spectacular way.
Precisely. Lady Westholme knew that the days of her influence were numbered if Mrs. Boynton could not be silenced.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would care to go out to the terrace, the fireworks await you.
Fireworks? You've had them already.
Do you know what it is to come from nothing? To climb inch by inch to respectability. To hear a claim, to have position. To see all that turning to dust. She's better dead. The family rejoice. Should I be the only one to suffer?
Will you arrest me, Monsieur Poirot?
That is up to Colonel Carberry, madame.
Damn you.